Talking tactics, Campbell's comments loves chatting to drivers post race to get a little bit of I suppose a breakdown of how their night went and all the rest. But ripping one tonight, Mick Bellman. Firstly, Mickey, thanks very much for joining me, and well done, buddy.
Thanks, mate. It was great.
Absolutely. For those who aren't aware, I've got a little condensed picture of myself and Mick at the minute. We've got a beautiful backdrop, Mickey, of you just hitting the line. You've got a mask on. Judging by the cheekbones, I reckon there's a fair grin underneath the mask, mate. I might be wrong.
No, I would have been grinning like a Cheshire cat, mate.
You had every right to, mate. It was a big night. It was a big race. It had a lot of build-up about it, this race did. Are you still pinching yourself that you actually won it?
Yeah, it's probably a surreal feeling. Like, you go into the race, not very often you go into the race and you don't think you've got any hope, but with the build-up and the hype to it, you sort of thought you were just basically, and from the draw and where you were going to lob in the run, just basically making up numbers. Yeah, to have it pull off, it was unbelievable.
It's one of the things I want to get involved with, ask you, I suppose is the right word I'm looking for, Mickey, about your psyche, like before the race. So you rock up, and I had a look there before you drove. Diamonds and Grace at $38, Blissful Stride at $99. Your shortest price favourite was I'm Sir Blake at just under $20, and Rishi at $121. You do it too often to be a fluke. What is your psyche like when you rock up to a race meeting? Do you do anything different, you think, or is it just because you don't get the plum drives, it's the way you always execute your job?
I just usually don't read too much into what the odds are or anything like that. I just drive it as I see it, and I've always been one that the horses can't see what odds they are and they can't read about what's been said about them. So just take it on its merit and drive it as the race is run, and I think that's probably why I've been so good at getting the long shots up over time.
And you have, with Trots Vision doing the parade rings, I saw some great scenes. It'd be probably over 6 weeks ago now, but at Shepparton when you won it was 100-1 as well. Dot the I think. It wasn't 100-1. It opened up at 100-1, but it was Dennis had a nice little wager. I think it ended up starting about 66, but he was over the moon, and you're the man he wanted on.
Yeah, a lot of people sort of started to get a bit of a reputation as the long shot king, and a lot of people sort of say, oh, with those odds we'll put Mickey Bellman on. So I'm happy to cop that mantle, and it's a lot less pressure than being $1.20 favourite and looking like a spastic getting one of them beat.
Rightio. No one can get to... I haven't turned something off. You watch. I can guarantee you, Mickey, it'll ring. If I don't turn this thing off, it'll buzz. The lead up to the race, there was drama from the start. Anyone that wasn't aware, the lights went out. You just went back into the parade ring a second time, and I captured on Trot's Vision there that there was a time where Rishi, you were trying to get him back out because the lights went off again out of the parade ring, and he was spending probably more time on his back legs than his front legs. I mean, a lot's been said about other horses, and we're not here to discuss the other horses. We're here to pump up the tyres of Mickey Bellman, and rightfully so. But he must have been well and truly fired up himself that second time, because as I said on Trot's Vision, you could clearly see you trying to get someone to help you, I think, get him back out of the parade ring and back into the shed.
Yeah, a couple of times he was starting to get a little bit antsy and got up on the toe and was rearing and stuff like that. And even when he come back in, he was quivering and his flanks and everything was shaking. So I stood with him for a fair while after the second time and patted him for a little bit just to try and calm him and just take that nervous tension out of him, I suppose. But because he was starting to get a little bit wound up about it, he was confused, that's for sure.
What about you? Like, did you try and take that out of yourself as well? And I know that probably sounds a little bit silly, but I would imagine, you're a likeable guy. You're very chatty to everyone. It's one of the things I want to bring up a little bit later on. Everyone likes you. You're always loud, and that's just the way you are. Was the tension starting to get to you, even though you were on 121 pop?
Wasn't so much tension because I didn't have any expectation. It was more the thrill of being in a race like that with the hype. As I said to Robbie Oliver in that last night, was the general consensus was that we didn't feel that we were going to go ahead, and that was like it was a funny feeling because you thought all the build up to this and it's not going to eventuate. It's sort of horses like Ride High and that come along. They're your marketing tool and everything like that, and then for your best showcase of the night not to go ahead, that was the worrying part of it. Like, you're thinking, like, all the effort's gone into these horses to get here. We've had 2 false starts at getting in the parade ring, and then is it going to go ahead? So it was a sombre sort of feeling throughout the shed.
It's interesting the way you guys think about that. Myself, I was watching thinking, thank God they weren't racing. If they went 10 minutes earlier, Ride High, and then cut loose down the back straight, going 150 rate, and all of a sudden the lights go out on everyone, that's not a good result for anyone. So I think, it wasn't ideal for anyone as for the night, but it was probably the best result, all things considered, the way the race actually, or the way everything ended up panning out.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, it was just a great unknown, I suppose, and I did have plan B if the lights went out mid-race. I was going straight across the midfield and coming out the front straight.
You are a clown. I like you very much, but you are a clown, mate. I'm just rolling the
the
tape.
They score up. They get close to the start. The tab smoking up, sprinted Group 2.
We no one needs to see you and me too often. That's for sure, mate. But
got good head for radio.
Just the start of the race. I actually got it right at the start, but you were going up. Like, not only did you just have to go to the parade ring twice, you were going up basically to the mobile, and then I think it was Code Black had an issue with some gear, so you had to stop and turn around and go back again. So that must have built up the nerves as well, did it?
Yeah, it was just obviously some horses handle it better. Some were getting hot. You can tell, like the ones that were sweating up and that were obviously feeling it, and being a bit of a mild night, it was that adds to it a little bit as well. But it was just seemed like it was delay after delay after delay.
It was a very funny night, mate. The mobile goes, and you punched through hard early to try and posse up. You didn't drive like 121 pop. It wasn't like you were going for the easy soft run. Duff got across in front of you, but you were happy to try and get up onto Sicario's back.
Yeah, well, I was probably punching through a little bit hard, and Duff gave me a little bit of a squeeze up. His theory was he had to get in quick, otherwise he was going to be back to last, and that as well. But so it probably stopped me getting up onto Sicario. But yeah, when the gate flies back, you're not worrying about how any odds are or who said what about you or where you think you're going to finish. You just drive it as you see it and try and place up best you can.
So Right Eye's just crossing to the depth now, outside of Cruise, and I mean this was basically the way the race was meant to happen. We're just going past the winning post, Mickey, just so you know where they're up to, but. The race was basically, that's it. These two were going to fight out the finish. If you listen to all the form students, and everyone was so adamant that it would happen this way. You're sitting last. You look like, to me, you got a fair handful of horse. And you're looking around, like, obviously he must have gave a great feel, did he?
He felt sensational throughout the run. Even when Kate took off, you could tell that we were still running. And I thought, wow, Kate's taken off fairly heavy here, and the acid really hadn't come out of it. And how quick he went past me Ride High, just going around him, I thought, I don't know whether I'd be going that quick. But obviously I wasn't driving him, and she could go tell by the feel of how he was. But at that time I thought, if he's going to be vulnerable, that's going to be it.
Yeah. I've just paused it here, mate. You've elected to pull out. No one else was moving. You're on the rank outsider. You're last. Obviously there's 4 of them on the fence, so they can't pull out. But major times, Jody's happy to sit there. Sicario's happy to sit there. Duff's got no intentions at all of coming out in front of you. And where I've paused it, mate, he's in good stride. The horse is happy to really let down, isn't he?
He was. They got him into a good rhythm, and because I didn't have to sort of check him at any stage, and he wound up, like, he put a rough in as we turned into the back, but then Lance said he'll do that and then he'll hit top gear and it'll be a smooth ride from then on in. Once he collected himself and really picked up, I thought, I'm either going to look like a complete goose pulling it out or it's going to work in my favour. So I thought, stuff it, let's go.
Right, so we're about 250, 300 just prior to turning. You've got Ride Highs in front. I know driving, never driven in, I have driven in a couple of big races once upon a time, but it's not about me, that's for sure. But you get a feel of the race, this last 400 metres. You get a bit of a feel of, where you're going to finish up. What were you thinking? You've just got past Sicario. Like I said, you've got Major Times and you've got Ride High out in front. Cruz is gone underneath Johnny Caldo, so they're all going back. So you pretty much know you only got the two in front of you to get over the top of. What sort of feel was he given?
At the 300, I was honestly still trucking into it really good. Still felt like I had a little kick left to give. And when I cruised up into the first five, I thought, I'm a live chance of being top three here. And that was basically all my thought process was, well, I'm going to finish top three on the ranked outsider. It wasn't until we sort of got to the top of the lane that the expectations changed.
You didn't throw the kitchen sink at him, and he's got an unusual action. He's got to be honest, it's a horrible action, but it works for him. But you didn't throw the kitchen sink at him. You can't now with the whip rules or anything along those lines, but he just savaged that line, didn't he?
He did. He just wanted it more than anyone else, and sort of just kept trying to keep going with him while he was in stride, and while he was going that fast and the momentum was with him, I just tried to do the best I could to just keep him balanced and go with him.
You leant forward, mate, and grabbed the tail. Afterwards, I'm sure you probably wanted to jump out of the cart and give him a big kiss at that stage, mate.
Yeah, sure. It was a bit of high emotions, and the job that he done just to come from last at the 500 and round those horses up, it was like a dream.
Oh, absolutely, and he done a great job. He looks super. The one thing I like, you don't take, well, unfortunately, Trot's Vision had a little bit of issue. They were, a bit condensed, but, 121 pop, you don't get a real good look at him. But, geez, he looked good after the race, like his coat and his condition. He looked terrific, didn't he?
Yeah, Lance turned him out fantastic. Like, some horses have sort of only cleaned 3/4 of their coat out this time of year, but you could see his face in his coat, and all credit to Lance and his crew at home. They had him looking fantastic, and his muscle tone with the freeze frame on the line, he was just impeccable.
Absolutely, and that's the picture that I've got. As the overlay, it's well and truly hidden by your and my mugs now, Mickey, but you said to me when I rang you about doing this interview, you said you've had one or two text messages and phone calls, and I'm sure since we had that conversation this morning, you probably had more. How overwhelming has it been?
It's just, it's unbelievable. When you're out there and you're doing your job, you don't realise so many eyes are on you, and you don't realise people that you have a bit to do with, but not a hell of a lot to do with, get enjoyment out of seeing you do what you do. And, even people that I've never met before left messages last night, and, when I come back to my phone, I had 57 messages, and I thought, wow, I'm going to be busy trying to get back to all these. But you get through it and you do it, and you're just humbled by how many people support you and think that much of you to take time out to congratulate you and everything. And that's probably the most humbling part about it, is you just think, wow, people have taken time out of their schedule or whatever, their lives, to send you a text and their gratitude, and that it's unbelievable.
From a harness racing marketing point of view and everything else, Ride High, disappointing probably makes it a little bit harder. But, mate, you're a great story. You're a terrific story. Rishi's an awesome story as well. A Lance Justice horse winning the Smoking Up. Smoking Up would never have started 121 to 1. There's not a hope in hell of him starting at those odds. It's just a great story, isn't it?
It is, and Johnny Hawkes rang Robbie Orber during the week and said, I'm thinking about putting Mick on, if you got his number, and they had a talk about me, and Robbie said, well, you got the right man on for the long shots, and they joked about it during the week, and then when it actually pulled off, they were talking to each other straight after the race, and Hawksy rang last night, and the things he does for harness racing too, it's just a great all-round story.
Absolutely. And the other bloke, Robbie Orber, I thought with his post-race interview with you last night, he was hedging to become your manager. I'm not sure if that's where he was going, but I think he was trying to become your manager, mate.
I'm happy for that to happen as long as he brings his own wages. So, no, Robbie's a great man. He's always been a good supporter of mine, and we're our own product. So the only way you can promote yourself is to put your best foot forward and put yourself out there as much as you can.
Harness racing does nothing without sponsors, mate, and John Hawke does so much behind the scenes. A lot of people won't be aware. He's renowned silverware, does a lot of the trophies. I know he does a lot for very little. It's probably, I interviewed John Campbell last night as well, not being able to be there with their horses racing. I'm sure John was probably hurting big time last night because he doesn't miss many meetings when he can get there. I mean, this COVID shutdown is really hurting him, isn't it?
It sure is. He said they were up out of the chair and jumping around. He was worried the neighbours thought they might have been having a domestic with the COVID shutdown, the noise that they were making. But, it is hard for passionate owners like Johnny that wants to be really involved, and even John Campbell, I watched an interview with him last night, and they're all great stories, but they're so much harder without blokes like you promoting that side of things. People are totally oblivious to how hard it's actually been for people, and the loyal ones that come to the races each week, how hard it is for them to be told, no, you're not coming.
Yeah, I absolutely, and I want to try and do some more. I probably should have done an interview with John Hawke, but it gets a little bit hard sometimes, I tell you. But that's okay. We keep going. Mickey, you've got 4 drives tonight. You've definitely got one that's just going to win because it's started at $7. Dansborough for Ricky Cashman, Will and Andy for, I think, Lorraine Barnes, was it? I actually haven't finished reading the trainers. Sorry?
Lorraine McKenzie.
That's right. Ears Ponder for
Wally.
And Andrew Swagger for, I didn't write the trainers on the last couple.
Yeah, Andrew Swagger. You got me on that one. The theory, I think.
Yep, that's it. Sorry to all those. Best chance, mate, for the punters at home that might be enjoying this little interview?
Best chance. Dansborough was a good run last week. Zach drove him, but he got the sprint lane and got the job done. Cranbourne's a bit of a tricky track. You can't come wide. Probably a sneaky one. If Emmett's horse in the last does anything wrong, Andrew Swagger's probably a good live chance. He's got the jump on the other one for a start, but on paper you're sort of looking at Emmett's horse getting into trouble or something happening. But, yeah, he's probably outside the first one. He's probably my live chance.
Less of the Ute window, mate. More of your noggin for me. That's better.
I thought you cut out. I thought I was right covered by the screensaver.
No, you're not, mate. No, sorry, you're just about out of the shot. I'll try something different, and then here he is. He's hedging his bets. I'm like, he just wants to get out of here, mate. You say about promoting myself. I have got tomorrow afternoon at 4:00. I'm going to self-promote. There's no worries there. A stadium parade on Campbell's Comments Facebook and YouTube page. We're going to be doing a live stadium parade from Northern Rivers Equine with Kath McIntosh. You can get in touch, be able to interact live with Mark Hughes from Woodland Stud because there's 2 stallions there, Lather Up and American Ideal. I'll get into trouble with both he and John Coffey will be linked into us through Zoom meetings. So tune in from 4:00 if you've got any stallion queries at all for the live stallion parade for Northern Rivers Equine. I'm looking forward to doing that tomorrow afternoon, mate. Do you get tomorrow off?
No, Maryborough tomorrow. Heats of the Platinum, so I've got TikTok in and, yeah, got a couple of drives at Maryborough, so I actually thought you were plugging me to be in part of your stallion parade there for a minute, Paulie. I thought, geez, I'm going all right.
Dangerous territory for you, you know that. and I edit stuff, so be very, very careful. You could get, this will definitely get some feedback if they've kept watching this.
I'm probably more of a teaser than a stallion these days.
We'll see if the great man B. Baker's tuned in. I know that he was promoting you as one of his own this morning. I noticed that he jumps on the bandwagon pretty quick, doesn't he?
I got a couple of messages from Bates today, so yeah, he's a great man and loves his harness and he's clowning around, so he fits into my bill really good.
He does indeed. Mickey, very, very quickly, one thing I want to congratulate you on. I did an interview with Michelle Phillips, who was there before. post Craig Knott's father, Philip Knott's passing when she won on that horse. For me, what makes harness racing special is moments. Michelle winning on that horse was one, but the fact that I could see you chatting to her straight after. Chris Elford the other night with Lockie Cook coming up and giving him a fist pump straight after. I think we need to lead by example, and I love what yourself, Chris, a lot of the other senior drivers are doing. It's great, mate, and I think well done to you, especially, as I said, Michelle's been around for a while. She drives plenty of winners, but I know you were pretty rapt with her straight after that race.
Yeah, well, I had a fair bit to do with Arbor and Phil when he was with Paul Brumby early days, and he's always been a good advocate for me and gave me a fair few great opportunities. And Michelle said to me in the parade ring beforehand, God, I got a lot of pressure on me here. I said, listen, block that out. Phil would just want you to get round safe, and whatever happens, happens. That's the type of bloke that he was, and he'll be happy with the result. Don't put pressure on yourself. And honestly, you can't script that sort of stuff that happened. And it was a fairy tale ending, and to her credit, she gives a fist pump, and that meant a lot to us as well. And to see Tim and all his staff after the race, the emotion involved, it was just a fairy tale ending.
It's actually strange how things work out, isn't it?
You
had one driver pull up in a car next year, James Herbertson. Michelle Phillips was knocking on the window, and the three of us wore the black armbands in that actual race. Didn't work it out until you were saying that.
Get hold of the little shits when I get in. They've got me windscreen wipers sitting in the air. God only knows what I'm here.
Well, Michelle said make sure I do a good interview with you because it's important to pump your tyres up. So that must have been what she wanted. She wanted to deface your car.
It's down. You can't like with 4 flat tyres.
Mick, go get them at Cranbourne, mate. Don't worry what price you are. Don't even look at the form guide, mate. Love what you're doing, and well done winning with Rishi, and well done. Must say well done to Lance Justice as well. I'm sure he's pretty pumped about it as well, mate. But terrific story. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.